not flaunt some of these things that you seem to have that are better than others, but instead advise and guide people so that it seems like you're a person who understands what exactly others are going through. One other aspect of being likable is knowing when and how to mind your own business. Do not have malice or speak ill of others because everybody else is doing it, especially when this person has not directly wronged you. That is just being totally and completely malicious. If, for example, you're in a workplace and something has gone wrong between you directly and somebody else, a colleague or someone, and then people are trying to badmouth the other person, simply have an attitude of not my monkeys, not my suckers. Because getting involved will mean that you're actually siding and you're maligning a person for no good reason. There's an old Native American saying that goes, do not judge a person until you have walked a mile in his moccasins or in his shoes. There is no need to judge people. To be liked, to be respected, to be trusted, don't judge anyone. And those are secrets of being well liked, because it pays to have people on your side. This has been Self-Care Tips with me, Irene Joroge.
Damn it.
What's wrong?
She was prepared to die.
To die?
We can't talk right here. Just follow. Oh.
Betsy! How could you leave us? How could you leave us again and again like this?
The Postal Corporation of Kenya Staff Pension Scheme and Staff Retirement Benefit Scheme will be holding its annual general meeting on 30th June 2022 at the Hilton Hotel Ballroom from 9:30 a.m. The event will be live on KBC Channel 1. Postal Corporation of Kenya Staff Pension Scheme. My pension, my comfort.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira kama Skiza Tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815 hash.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Haki na sita tafadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza *811 *815 hash. *811 *815 hash.
You are watching us. This is KBC Prime Edition. Lows of 13 degrees right here in the capital city, Nairobi, Kenya. Gentle breeze tonight, but we want to warmly welcome you to this broadcast. We will be live for the next 1 hour looking at the day's top stories in business, in sports, and also live tonight on The Perspective. We host Robert Le Mercato. Tonight, we're looking at the Northern Frontier Districts and the politics there. But first things, let's look at our top stories. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the clergy urge Kenyans to elect leaders of integrity. Kenyan lawyer Paul Gisheru asks International Criminal Court to drop witness bribery charge against him. Enhancing access to COVID vaccines. Government partners with AMREF in rollout of mobile clinics. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. My name is Mboya, our sign language interpreter tonight. Baron Abuli, our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya24, hashtag Prime Edition. Straight to our top story. Nominated Senator Beth Mugo now wants the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to reconsider the decision not to use the manual voter register in the August general election. The nominated senator said that the move will deny many Kenyans their constitutional right. Separately, people living with disability in the coastal town of Mombasa have called on the electoral body to ease access to the ballot material come August 9th. Michael Mwandiga opens our coverage tonight with that report.
Nominated Senator Beth Mugo claims a lot of Kenyans are faced with the challenge of having their fingerprints captured due to the nature of their jobs, while others have had their fingerprints disappear with age.
The chairman to rethink and to change the arguments is advancing, because to me he will block out more people than maybe how such a register would be misused.
Mugo, who addressed the press at County Hall in Nairobi, further argues that all Kenyans have a constitutional right to vote, and IEBC should ensure the manual voter register is availed to cater for people who have no fingerprints.
We have a duty to ensure that such scenario is avoided by ensuring that the manual registers will be available to cater for such people in every voting station.
IEBC maintains it will uphold the Court of Appeal ruling that biometric be the primary verification method and will only use the manual voter registration as a last option.
Together, when we go to the National Tallying Center, we shall be comparing the results which all of us have. So everybody can tally, have their own PVT, but the final announcement, declaration is the commission. That's what we are saying.
Meanwhile, a section of persons with disability in Mombasa County is calling on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to ease access to voting materials and centers, as well as scale up voter education for the special interest group.
IEBC wahakikishe wamefuata sheria County Governments Act Section 7(1). Wa make sure kwamba kila county ina wakilishi wa walemavu, vijana na marginalized, yani wawili.
Sisi kweli tuna matatizo mengi kwa sababu ya communication barrier. Hakuna watafsiri wa lugha ya ishara, na pia wakati tukiapply zile kazi hakuna ile 5% ya job opportunities. IEBC hawafuatia, wazingatii hiyo. Kwa hivyo sisi tunakwama sana na mambo ya interpretation hakuna.
The PWDs are also urging the security apparatus to ensure law and order is maintained during pre and post elections.
Ufia wakati pia kwenda kupiga kura. Anything can happen. Kunaweza vita kutokea. Sasa sisi tunaogopa. Maana tunaweza katika vita vitatokea, na atakayeumia nani? Obvious sisi wa kwanza.
And media organizations and practitioners have been urged to rely solely on the official documents from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission when tallying the election results in the forthcoming general election. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Jerome Ochieng, said media practitioners must avoid broadcasting and publishing conflicting information, as this will only yield disharmony among Kenyans.
Then, if that Form 34A is won and it's signed by all the agents, then I don't see any reason why we should be having two houses reporting different numbers.
Ochieng was speaking in Kisumu County during a media training on election coverage organized by the Media Council of Kenya.
Less than 40 days towards the 9th August general elections, the people with disabilities are urging IEBC to consider the plight of ensuring easy access to polling centers and ballot papers for the visually impaired. Michael Mwandiga for Prime Edition, Mombasa County.
From election preparedness, 42 days into the general poll, let's move on. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is reaching out to the clergy to help educate Kenyans on the need to elect leaders of integrity. The anti-graft watchdog engaged a section of the clergy on the strategies to employ in buying corrupt leaders from occupying leadership positions. EACC Chief Executive Officer Twalib Mbarak warns failure to deter election of corrupt leaders will certainly result in individuals of questionable character occupying the elective offices. Gishuki Washira puts that story into perspective.
With 6 weeks to the general elections, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is relying on the electorate to vote for leaders of integrity in a bid to fight corruption. EACC is engaging the clergy to assist in civic education.
Let's go out and use the capacity that God has given us in that office of your religious organization. Let's do our part. Let the rest be left to God. They should illuminate the ears of our society and expose those responsible for moral decay in our country, because that will help to educate people on who is the right person to vote for.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has flagged 241 political aspirants with integrity issues, but the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has only barred 5 from contesting for elective positions.
We should support IBC, we should support EACC, we should support the judiciary, and we should support the citizen, because the citizens, I think there's an element of ignorance that the citizens don't know that they are the most powerful people through the vote. Because the vote of a poor man and the vote of a tycoon, the weight is the same.
The meeting between the anti-graft agency and the clergy comes in the wake of accusations against some churches for receiving corruption monies from politicians.
Since we committed ourselves to this journey, there's no way out. We are ready to walk, and we are ready to fight this giant called corruption. Sometimes we are bashed as religious leaders. There was a time that everybody said we sanitize corruption monies, and I think we have given clarity to the citizenry that we never do that.
Ishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
Let's now engage the levers of politics. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition presidential candidate Raila Odinga is calling on residents of Garissa to vote for him, promising to improve the security situation in the region. Speaking at a rally in Dadaab, Garissa County, Raila said he will put in place a social protection program to ensure all vulnerable Kenyans are supported. He said that he will counter incidents of youth being conscripted into terror cells. Ben Troy Jue is on that beat.
Azimio One Kenya team continued their campaigns in northern Kenya, this time round in Dadaab, Garissa County. Raila leading the team that included his running mate Martha Karua, promising locals a catalogue of goodies including improving the region's security, which he said had been wanting.
Tumesema ati mambo ya usalama tutaimarisha.
Raila making it clear to locals that no extrajudicial killings will be carried out under his leadership.
Hatutaki kuona kama mtu yoyote anashika Mkenya yoyote anakwenda anaua bila sababu.
Mambo ya kuchukua vijana kuwatorosha na hawapatikani tena itaisha.
Raila also promised to improve the road infrastructure in the region.
Tuleta social protection program hapa. Jamii hawa watapata kila mwezi kutoka kwa serikali shilingi 6,000.
His running mate Martha Karua promising a government that will protect the rights of all Kenyans, pledging equity distribution of the country's resources.
Hatutacheka au kucheza na wafisadi. Ile pesa yenu inachukuliwa na watu wanajifanya matajiri, yote tutafunga hizo mifereji.
Leaders who attended the rallies urging locals to vote for Raila, who has the interest of the region at heart.
Kupigana na ufisadi inawezekana. Kupigana na umaskini inawezekana. Kupigana na ujinga inawezekana.
Najua ndugu Raila na my sister mother tukisaidiana tutaweka mstari wa mbele hizi barabara na biashara na watu kujihisi wako Kenya.
Usalama, maji, barabara, bei ya chakula, kufungua kwa mipaka itafanyika.
Kama unataka unga iende chini, mafuta iende chini, lazima tuchukue Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga na Martha Karua wakomboe Kenya hii katika ukombozi line.
For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troy Njua.
Let's stay with politics. Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate Dr. William Ruto has called for the establishment of a National Health Service Commission to address health challenges facing the country. Ruto says that if Kenya Kwanza coalition forms the next government, the commission will streamline distribution of drugs at both the national as well as the county levels for the benefit of its citizens. Irene Muchuma Odim reports.
During a Kenya Kwanza Health Economic Forum at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Nairobi County, Ruto said the National Health Service Commission will be mandated to better handle challenges that have riddled the health sector.
That will not only capture all the health data, it will also make patient data portable from one place to another without a lot of effort. And it will also make it that much more easy to sort out commodity supply and also help us with telemedicine.
The Deputy President blamed poor supply chain of drugs and lack of enough personnel for poor service delivery at health facilities across the country.
Almost 60% of patients, instead of going to a dispensary or a health center or a level 3 or 4 hospital, they actually choose to go to referrals because their experience is that there is no health professional at the dispensary.
The DP also took issue with the structure of medical supplies, saying it is prone to plunder public funds.
Some people must persuade us a facility that don't have drugs that are required at the right time, but they have drugs that stay in the stores until they expire.
We are going to be a responsible government. The shouting matches we see between Panyako and his team and the government will be part of our history, so that we can be able to seamlessly work for Kenyans.
Irene Mchuma Odim, the Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, Roots Party of Kenya presidential candidate George Luchiri Wajakoya Monday took his campaigns to the lakeside county of Kisumu, urging residents to back his bid for presidency to enable him turn around the economy. Wajakoya said his administration will give priority to the local contractors to undertake projects. He said it's only through such initiatives that unemployment can be tackled effectively.
Watu watakuwa wakifanya kazi masiku 4 kwa wiki, 24-hour economy, 8 hours a shift. Polisi itakuwa hao ni wale tutaanza nao mwezi wa 8 kisha kuchukua kama president. Bei ya nyoka, ile bei tukiuza hiyo nyoka is a $1 billion business in a year. Mimi nimeenda nikasoma ngambo nikaona vile poison inatengenezwa, hao ndio wanatengeneza badala ya kuja kufungua viwanda yetu. Nyoka ikiwa sawa tutafungua viwanda, tutengeneze poison, tuuzie nchi zote ulimwengu mzima. That is also one source of income in this country.
Way to the Netherlands, lawyer Paul Gicheru is pleading with the International Criminal Court at The Hague to acquit him of all counts facing him, saying that the office of the prosecution has not linked him to the bribery of witnesses case. In his closing submission, Gicheru said that the office of the prosecution relied on hearsay and unsubstantiated claims to nail him.
Submissions before the trial chamber at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Lawyer Paul Gicheru, through his lawyer Michael Carvanis, punched holes into the prosecution case, holding him on counts of offences against administration of justice.
Did not give an opening statement. Where in the statute does it say that the defense must give an opening statement? It doesn't. And not to mention, an opening statement is not evidence.
Gicheru is accused of criminally responsible for 8 counts of corruptly influencing witnesses individually, as a direct perpetrator jointly with other members of Common Plan, as a direct co-perpetrator in bribing witnesses to drop their ICC cases against Deputy President William Ruto at the Hague-based court.
Although I say that even Stevie Wonder, the great American blind, singer, could see what the defense was. How did this failure on our part compromise the OTP in presenting its case or negatively impact its burden of proof?
Gicheru's lawyer James Stewart Carvanis pointed out that the office of the prosecutor is expecting the trial chamber to find the needles of truth, if any exist, hidden in the massive haystack of lies by each witness, and the prosecutor did not rise to the level of proof.
The OTP argues that you may rely on one part of a witness's testimony while rejecting others, since no witness is per se unreliable. Well, even the clock is right twice a broken clock is correct twice a day. Fair enough. No witness is per se unreliable. But the jurisprudence of the ICC is somewhat more nuanced.
Carvanis claiming witnesses who were known to have lied were interviewed in an inordinate number of times to smooth out inconsistencies and improbabilities in the evidence or tailor it to the office of the prosecutor's case, and denied offering a bribe to a witness at gunpoint to stop them from engaging the International Criminal Court.
And they opt for what I call the skunk factor. You bring a skunk into the courtroom for a second or two, take him out. The skunk is out, but the stench remains. It's all about insinuation.
Prosecution urged the ICC to hold count Gicheru and not consider his submissions. The trial chamber said they're going to deliberate on the submissions. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
From the Netherlands back to Nairobi, Kenya, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with Amref Health Africa, have launched a fleet of mobile vaccination clinics in an effort to increase vaccine access and uptake in the country. Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache noted that the movable clinics will take COVID-19 vaccines and other services to communities with no access. The initiative comes at a time when the country is facing an increase of cases in COVID-19 infection. Jacqueline Masharia with that report.
Mobile clinics fully equipped and designed to operate efficiently are set to enable vaccination of 70 to 100 people per day each, and reaching up to 1,000 people per day once all 10 mobile clinics are fully operational.
This movable unit, because of the need for it to go further and further from the grid of the facilities, it is actually powered by solar. So it is fully power solared. So the electricity inside is power, everything we do, the lighting, the cooling, the refrigeration is power, is solar power, which means that it can be left anywhere and will be operational for as long as we want, and then you can move it to another area. It is sustainable, it is durable, it is going to serve communities and ensure that communities are safe so that we can protect lives and livelihoods.
According to the Ministry of Health, 50% of residents in Nairobi have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, while 20% have not received any vaccine. Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache, however, noted the government is targeting to vaccinate adults by December this year and 50% of teenagers by the end of the year.
I want to take this opportunity to reiterate the importance of vaccines, and we will not tire as a Ministry of Health and as a government to reiterate that it is important for us to be vaccinated in order to prevent the development of severe COVID-19 disease and its associated deaths. Vaccination remains the most important strategy for preventing severe illness and death where COVID-19 is concerned.
On other health determinants, such as non-communicable diseases that influence how health emergencies affect the country, Dr. Githinji Gitahi, Group Chief Executive Officer, Amref Health Africa, said it was critical to avert the negative impact that health emergencies such as COVID-19 have on communities.
Countries and communities that are vaccinated have reduced their risk of severe disease, have reduced their risk of death, and therefore they're able to go on with their lives. This is really what we aim. This is what we aim for Africa. This is what we aim for Kenya specifically.
These non-communicable diseases certainly have a crippling economic impact on our country. People who are living with cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, amongst others, are the ones who are at most risk of developing severe COVID-19 as a disease.
This as 232 people tested positive for the disease from a sample size of 2,030 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 11.4%. According to statistics from the Ministry of Health, 390 patients have recovered, pushing the total recoveries to over 322,000. No death was reported in the last 1 day, and cumulative fatalities remained 5,652. The government maintains that the COVID-19 vaccine remains the most effective arsenal against the disease. The Ministry of Health now hopes that by taking the campaign to each doorstep, more Kenyans will be encouraged to get the jab. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Well, let's continue to observe the Ministry of Health protocols. Well, that story brings us to our first break right here on KBC Prime. Remember, a little later on, we are hosting live in studio an aspirant for the Samburu East constituency. He's going to tell us what has changed in Samburu over the last 10 years and what has not worked. How does he propose to remedy that situation? Robert Lemerketo will be with us shortly. Stay with us.
My government has, with effect from today, declared the famine situation in the country as a national disaster. I now direct all arms of the government to mobilize the resources and coordinate their efforts in responding adequately. Our national assessment is that 10 million people are food insecure and require emergency support. These people will not be able to meet their minimum food requirements between now and the end of August, the year 2009, without emergency measures.
To cut the show tonight. Wiley will be on.
We have not had gospel event for a minute, but tonight we have one for you.
Fête de la Musique, also known as World Music Day, was also on.
Be sure to tune in tonight at 10 p.m. only on
Gripper.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Welcome back. Our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya24, #Prime Edition. Moving on, more than 100 cases of torture have been recorded in the country over the last 6 months. Human rights defenders say that the number could be higher as some cases go unreported. The Independent Medical Legal Unit wants the government to show commitment that it is working on ending all forms of abuse, be it in the hands of the state agencies or outlaws. Yusuf Farah reports.
Kenya has commemorated the International Day in support of victims of torture amid calls on the state to ensure the protection of all citizens against abuse and acts of violence. Over the last 6 months, more than 100 cases of torture have been reported to rights defenders. Out of this, 65 are torture, 36 extrajudicial executions and 7 enforced disappearances. Rights defenders say the government should address the mess and document all other cases which go unreported.
Torture does not only affect the direct victim, torture affects others as well, including societies. If today we carried a perception survey in this country about the effect of extrajudicial executions and enforced disappearances that have happened in the last 10 years, you will be shocked by the level of trauma across all communities in this country. Coming out of fear that I might be the next one to disappear. Fear that I might be the next victim of torture.
In a report, the Independent Medical Legal Unit says since 2020, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority has recorded 18,000 complaints against police, but only 95 are before court and just 8 convictions have arose from the cases. Rights defenders argue that justice for victims of torture remains elusive and there is a need to fix the criminal justice system to ease the suffering and provide closure for families affected by the vice.
Maintain our collective efforts to prevent, ensure accountability and to redress torture as we approach this electoral period.
Torture must not be used as a form of engagement in terms of investigations. Torture cannot be, in this century, a way of obtaining information from anyone because it goes against the very grains of our constitution that no one should subject any other person to any form of torture.
The report on torture calls for the full implementation of the Prevention of Torture Act 2017 and the development of a monitoring and evaluation tool to assess the progress of the implementation. Isufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Let's now move straight into the corridors of justice and Gabriella Hannah van Straten Cohen, that's the sister of the late Dutch tycoon Tob Cohen. He has told the court that Sarah Wairimu was not married to the deceased by the time a multi-million shilling property whose ownership is being contested was bought. This comes after Sarah moved to the court, citing exclusion from a late husband's will. Sarafina Robi reports.
She has a statement?
Yes.
You should ask her to adopt that.
3 years since the death of Dutch tycoon Tob Cohen, the fight over his multi-million shillings property is yet to be resolved. His widow Sarah Wairimu has moved to court to contest his will. On Monday morning, appearing before Justice Mugure Thande at the Milimani Law Courts, the late Cohen's sister Gabrielle Hannah van Straten Cohen alluded to an email she had received from her late brother directing her where to pick his will if Sarah kills him.
The first sentence was? If Sarah kills me now, the will is at JD Kirundu, my friend and my lawyer, in the safe.
Gabrielle further told the court that by the time the 70 million shillings property was being bought, Sarah was not yet married to her late brother, as the two tied the knot in 2007, allegedly to save Tob from deportation. In the contentious will, 50% of the estate is allegedly allocated to Gabrielle, 25% to her children and another 25% to the son of Tob's elder brother, Bernard Cohen. Sarah Wairimu's lawyer questioned the legitimacy of the will and why Gabriel had to leave the country immediately after getting it and consequently did not attend her brother's burial. The hearing continues before High Court Judge Mugure Thande. Meanwhile, Justice Anthony Mrima has recused himself from a case involving Muranga Governor and presidential aspirant Mwangi wa Iria, who moved to the High Court to contest the decision of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to clear him to vie for the country's top seat. This follows an oral application by lawyer Moses Kipkogei stating that the judge had already determined his mind frame in the Sabina Chege versus IEBC case, where Judge Mrima ruled that the IEBC Code of Conduct does not apply as candidates have not yet been determined so as to subscribe to it. Justice Mrima had further ruled that the IEBC committee did not have powers to issue summons to aspirants. The case will be assigned to another judge for hearing and determination. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Now, I just want you to picture this, having to spend your sunset days in solitude, and it's not because you don't have a family, but because the people that you call family want you dead. This is the fate of elders from different communities in Kilifi County who have been forced to hide in rescue centers, and the reason is they fear losing their lives. Safina Chieng highlights the plight of such elders from Kilifi who have been forced to flee their homes, believe it or not, after being accused of being involved in witchcraft.
This is Mrima Wandege Rescue Center, tucked in a remote village in Ganze sub-county of Kilifi County. Here we meet 83-year-old Charo Kagohu. The father of 14 has been forced to spend his sunset days confined in this rescue center. Kagohu narrates how he ran away from his home in Palakumi village in Bamba area of Ganze constituency in 2017 after he was accused of being a witch and allegedly being involved in the death of his grandson.
Akashikwa na homa ya ghafla, labda homa kama kidogo tu akaaga dunia. Hiyo sababu sijaambiwa kinaganaga, lakini mimi nafikiria hivyo. Lakini mimi sijanunua hata mti wowote uchawi. Saa hiyo mimi nimeambiwa ni mchawi, siku ile mwili utaingia nyumbani kutoka mochari. Hapo ndio nilipata fununu kwamba mimi niko katika hali ya hatari.
It has been 5 years since Kagohu sought refuge here. The solitude, he says, has left him depressed, sick and uncertain about his fate.
Niko salama, lakini mimi sivyo nitaka.
Wataka vipi?
Nataka nyumbani.
Usijali. Thank you.
His plight is similar to that of Kahindi Mramba from Kibarani, Dera village. The 88-year-old was forced out of his home in 2013, courtesy of a family land dispute that left him with the unfortunate tag of being labeled a witch.
Nilikuwa na mtoto wa mkubwa wangu. Hao ndio walikuwa wananyanyasa ile shamba yangu. Lakini sasa tulienda mbele, sasa tukafuata ile mambo ya shamba, ndio tukamaliza kwa wakili, tukaenda na wazee wa hapa mpaka kwa wakili tukamaliza ile kesi, ndio nikarudi hapa. Sasa bado hakuna maneno tena, bado kwenda kwa nyumbani.
Kagohu and Mramba are among the over 85,000 people in Kilifi County who, according to the 2019 Kenya National Census, are aged between 60 years and above. A majority of this population have borne the brunt of frequent attacks and killings of allegations of witchcraft. Those who are lucky to escape find refuge in rescue centers. According to Kaya Godoma Cultural Rescue Center Chairman Emmanuel Katana, the institution, which was established in 2008, has been pivotal in sensitizing the community against infringing the rights of the elderly. Out of the 160 elders who have been registered at the institution, 154 have been reunited with their families.
Nahamasisha jamii wanarudi kwao, na mpaka sasa bado tuna watu 6 ambao jana tulipeleka 2 kwao na mmoja jana pia tukampata jioni. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana kwa sababu tumepiga tu hatua, lakini ni ngumu sana. Kwa shughuli zile ambazo tunazifanya.
Despite the gains, however, the remaining elders are staring at eviction after the 12-acre parcel of land upon which the institution lies was put on sale.
Kufikia leo asubuhi tumepatiwa notice ya kufikia tarehe 1 mwezi wa 7 tuwe tumeondoka ama tuwe tumenunua kulingana na bei yake ambayo anaitaka. Kwa hivyo hiyo imekuwa challenge kiasi kwamba hatujui itakapofika hiyo siku ya tarehe 1 kama hatuna pesa tutawapeleka wapi wale wazee wetu.
According to Judo Togo, the country coordinator for Helpage International, plans to collaborate with the government to build model homes for the elderly are underway.
Pale Central Kirinyaga tuliweza kusupport serikali kujenga boma la kuhifadhi wale wazee ambao wanajihisi wako hatarini. Hiyo tunaiita model home, na kuna mipango kwamba hata Kilifi kutakuwa na model homes rescue ya wazee, Kisii vile vile, na sehemu zote zile ambazo unyanyasaji na dhuluma kwa wazee imekita mizizi.
The idea is not to have people take their own in the home. But the idea is for those people who are maybe sexually abused, who are physically abused, before they can be rehabilitated, they can be healed, can they stay there comfortably, and then they are repatriated back to their homes.
Kilifi is leading in Kenya in cases of violence and killing of the elderly persons, followed by Kisii and Kirinyaga counties. For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Of course, remember when the Kenya National Human Rights Commission called on urgent change after 4 elderly women were lynched on allegations of practicing witchcraft sometime last year. Now, moving on to the cabinet, from a greenhorn politician to a political grandmaster, undoubtedly an apt description of the 4th President of the Republic of Kenya. This week on the cabinet, we focus on Uhuru Kenyatta's service as the member of the cabinet.
On defeat, he is said to have immersed himself in the expensive family business. But just when everyone thought they had had the last of him, President Moi set his giraffe sight on him. In 1999, President Moi appointed the young politician as the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Board. At the board, Uhuru would work with the likes of Nicholas Biwott, who was a feared political power broker in the Moi government. Then came October 2001, and President Moi nominated Uhuru to Parliament and then appointed him Minister for Local Government, a docket that would give the politician unlimited space to interact freely with people and local government leaders across the country. The following year, Uhuru was elected one of the 4 KANU national vice chairmen at controversial party elections held at Moi Sports Center, Nazarene. Moi decided that Kenyatta was his preferred successor and influenced his nomination for the race to State House. In the 2002 general election, Uhuru would lose to opposition leader Mwai Kibaki but would serve as the Tunda South Member of Parliament and leader of official opposition. In January 2005, he won the Kenya national chairmanship after defeating Nicholas Biwott in yet another controversial party election. In the same year, 2005, Uhuru found himself on the same political side with Raila Odinga campaigning against the referendum to amend the constitution. The Uhuru-Raila team, which would include William Ruto, defeated the President Kibaki-led side, which supported the amendment of the constitution. In September 2007, just 3 months to the December general election, Uhuru surprised many when, as the leader of opposition in parliament, declared KANU would not field a presidential candidate but instead back President Kibaki's second bid. The controversial 2007 presidential election resulted in violence in many parts of the country, and peace returned following a mediation between President Kibaki and Raila Odinga.
The peace talks were brokered by former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan. When Raila and his ODM outfit joined the Grand Coalition government, Kenyatta was elevated to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Trade in April 2008. When the International Criminal Court came calling over the 2007-2008 post-election violence, Uhuru from Kibaki side and Ruto from the Raila side would be among the 6 Kenyans who were hauled to the Hague-based court and prosecuted over crimes against humanity. He was later transferred to head the Ministry of Finance while maintaining his deputy premiership. He gained a reputation for being among the very few cabinet ministers without financial scandals. As Minister for Finance, Kenyatta spearheaded a number of reforms, including the creation of the Integrated Financial Management Information System, IFMIS, and a fund for inclusion of the informal sector in the mainstream economy. He is also famed for an unpopular move to conserve resources by denying state offices fuel-guzzling luxury limousines and 4x4 vehicles, downgrading these to the much cheaper but adequately comfortable Volkswagen Passat. In 2013, Uhuru would become a darling of the Mount Kenya region as they would embrace him to succeed retiring President Mwai Kibaki, whose 2 5-year terms were coming to an end. The charges brought by the ICC against Kenyatta were dropped on 13th March 2015. Nicknamed Moi's project by the media once Moi named him heir apparent in 2002 at the expense of Odinga and others, Kenyatta had his work cut out to shake off the notion that he was not his own man. This perception persisted right up to the time of the 2013 elections, when, flanked by running mate and ICC co-accused Ruto, he won the presidency, defeating Odinga among other contenders. He would win again in 2017 general election. On March 9, 2018, a man associated with firm handshake shook hands with opposition leader Raila Odinga, the man who would become his preferred successor in the 2022 general election.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice?
Who are the movers and shakers in film and theatre? Get trendy as we review locally produced films and stage drama every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Cinemas and Theatre.
Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
The Postal Corporation of Kenya Staff Pension Scheme and Staff Retirement Benefit Scheme will be holding its annual general meeting on 30th June 2022 at the Hilton Hotel Ballroom from 9:30 a.m. The event will be live on KBC Channel 1. Postal Corporation of Kenya Staff Pension Scheme. My pension, my comfort.
Welcome to the day's business. I'm sitting in for Karen Jenga. Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority is backing the rollout of the tax invoice management system this August to boost VAT collections by 10%. KRA tax manager Hakamba Wangwe says VAT registered taxpayers have until the end of next month to embrace electronic tax registers, which will also improve tax compliance as well as minimize cases of tax avoidance.
The Kenya Revenue Authority plans to roll out a tax invoice management system to enhance revenue collection, improve tax compliance, and minimize VAT fraud.
Existing situation where we have most of the processes being manual, then we don't have good visibility of the vertable transactions. We want to move to the next stage where we have better visibility of these transactions and also being able to assess the accurate taxes that are due from VAT registered taxpayers. But that is looking from the government side. So we also look at how we can make the processes better for the VAT registered taxpayers.
Effective August this year, VAT registered taxpayers would be required to use electronic tax registers. This is after the gazettement of the value-added tax electronic tax invoices regulations last September that provided for a 12-month compliance period. With the deadline fast approaching, all newly registered taxpayers and those who intend to replace their electronic tax registers are being urged to begin the process of transitioning.
It's now that we're actually having a push of most of the taxpayers coming on board. So as much as, yes, it's not been where we wanted to be right now, but we know in the past 2 weeks we've had a surge of our taxpayers being Kenyans trying to adopt this change and be able to come on board.
The system, which has been integrated with the iTax system, is expected to simplify VAT return filing and foster faster processing of VAT refunds. KRA says upon completion of the rollout phase, auto-populated VAT return will be activated.
Moving on, insurance value chain players from across Africa are meeting right here in Nairobi, Kenya to deliberate on tailoring products around agriculture amid the growing challenge of climate change. Insurance from the continent are banking on innovative products tailored around agriculture to increase insurance uptake, socio-economic growth, as well as boost food security. Here's that report.
The 48th AIO conference is under the theme, Insurance and Climate Change, harnessing the opportunities for growth in Africa. As the continent's risk managers, the insurance sector is therefore called upon to provide risk management solutions in the form of risk mitigation and transfer, building resilience and enabling the continent transition to net zero greenhouse gas emissions.
The African Insurance Organization, AIO, established in 1972, is an international organization recognized by 48 African governments. The main objectives of AIO at birth were the development of a healthy insurance and reinsurance industry and the promotion of inter-African cooperation.
Now, Kenyans running online business and the increasingly ubiquitous payment portals are the latest target for cyber criminals. Agora Group co-founder Hadi Maleb says that threats on online business are growing at an alarming rate, that about 90% of the business owners are unaware, believe it or not, that their enterprises are at risk and exposed.
Delegates at the inaugural Africa Cybersecurity Congress being held in Nairobi say the growing cyber threats in Kenya have been fueled in part by the exponential growth in use of mobile payments. Experts say cyber criminals are now targeting small businesses more as they have realized that these enterprises believe they are not key targets of cyber criminals due to their comparatively low turnovers.
Not everybody is supposed to access data that is on the system. Say, for example, in an organization that ideally, let's say, sells insurance, what the marketing team is able to access should not be the same data that, let's say, for example, the finance team is able to access. If it's financial data, it has to be protected and also monitored for the same. So anybody who accesses any financial information which is classified as confidential is able to be monitored and also given the right privileges to access that. So ideally, that's what it means as privileged access management.
To address the growing cyber risks, business owners are being challenged to invest in cybersecurity tools to forestall losses due to business interruption, financial theft, personal data breaches, or ransom payments.
The market is consuming a lot of cybersecurity solutions, especially in the privileged access management side of it. Why? Because nowadays you have a lot of, since COVID, even more and more companies allowing people to work remotely. And my company helps organizations to be protected in a way that we're going to protect your credentials as a user. Privileged access management. So we're going to, regardless of the level of privileges you have, you need to be protected as a user, not to compromise your own organization.
Increasing automation of services in Kenya, which has more than 1 million businesses running online using both websites and social media profiles, has made the country attractive to threat actors, with reality only hitting business executives and owners the moment they become cyber attack victims.
90% of businesses are not ready for cyber attacks. 90%. So imagine 9 out of 10 businesses don't have the infrastructure to protect their data, their clients, their transactions, their information from being hacked and from being stolen. That's a huge number, and it's a very big vulnerability.
The Communications Authority of Kenya reported a 47.3% increase in cybercrime cases last year that rose to 37.1 million attacks. It has indeed positively impacted the growth of businesses globally by helping them recover from the pandemic's wrath. But did you know that 90% of those same businesses are inefficiently equipped on cybersecurity? The introduction of privileged access management in the field of cybersecurity will now help safeguard cyberspaces by providing in-depth solutions aimed at reducing vulnerability to hackers. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Nduta Mukami.
Currently, the Central Bank of Kenya is warning that the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the tension between Russia and the West is likely to compound the situation further for the Kenyan shilling. The worsening dollar position is also undermining the official foreign exchange reserves. CBK says the reserves have declined to $8 billion as of June 23, 2022, compared to $8.18 billion on the 26th of May 2022 and $8.11 billion on the 16th of June 2022. The CBK, however, insists the reserve figures meet statutory requirements, maintaining at least 4 months of import cover and the East African Community's convergence criteria of 4.5 months of import cover. In the week ending the 23rd of June 2022, share prices at the Nairobi Stock Exchange have also declined by 4.3%, while market capitalization declined by 4.6%. However, total shares traded rose by 4.2%. The CBK says open market operations remained active, where the average interbank rate was 5.27% on June 23rd compared to 5.30% on June 16th. Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Come to the day sports. Just a quick reminder, later on in this live broadcast, we are hosting tonight Robert Lemerco, an aspirant for the Samburu East constituency. And tonight we are talking about the northern frontier politics as well as drought. What has changed for Samburu East over the last 10 years, and perhaps what has not worked, and how he proposes to remedy the situation should he be elected. So stay tuned for that. But let us just move straight into the world of sports, and I'm sitting in. The 3x3 women's national wheelchair basketball team will be out to prove that they are a force to reckon with when they make their first appearance in the Commonwealth Games due in Birmingham from the 28th of July to all the way to the 8th of August Games. The Andrew Kihumba Chargers is currently training at the Moi International Sports Center that's in Kasarani. Here's that report.
3x3 wheelchair basketball is a variation of wheelchair basketball which will be contested for the first time in Commonwealth Games, together with 3x3 basketball, with the tournament taking place between the 29th of July and the 2nd of August.
Tunatarajia gold
Kwa ukweli tunatarajia gold. Na hata tusipopata gold, tunaona tuko katika medal bracket. Sababu bidii ile ambayo tumefanya katika hii uwanja ni hali ya juu. Mimi kama mchezaji wa guard namba 5 nacheza mchezo yangu nikiletea wenzangu, then tuna score.
The Kenya women's wheelchair team, which includes Caroline Wanjira, Eunice Otieno, Stella Tioi, Rael Al-Akoth, have been intensifying their training at Kasarani under the head coach Andrew Kihumba.
3-on-3 basketball is played by 3 people on the half court, not the full basketball pitch. They play using wheelchairs, and it's played within some points.
Kenya booked its place after getting allocation from the Commonwealth Games Federation, but had also gone through the qualifiers in South Africa, where they finished second. This year's Commonwealth Games will be beamed live from KBC Channel 1. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Vihiga County men's volleyball team has blamed financial woes on their recent poor run in the National Men's Volleyball League. The club is ranked 15th in the men's standings, which enters the 7th round, the second leg of the 16th team standings this weekend.
According to head coach Samuel Mugata, has forced the club to skip 3 legs this campaign.
Tucheza first leg vizuri, tukacheza second leg vizuri, third leg, fourth leg, mpaka fifth leg hatukucheza sababu hatukukuwa na finance. Na kulingana na vile vitu ziko, hii ni mwaka siasa na ule mwenye huwa anatusupport kidogo kama county government, vitu ilikuwa shida, alafu hatukuweza kuparticipate kwa game zilifuatilia.
Vihiga suffered their 8th defeat of the season after falling by 3 sets to nil of 29-27, 25-21, 25-12 against top 4 hopefuls KDF. Mugata called upon well-wishers to come and support the self-supporting club, which has continued to produce quality players who have gone on to be signed by other National League clubs.
Hii timu ndio iko kama tunasema inajisimamia kivyake. Si kama mashirika kama unaweza kupata GSU wako pale, wako na timu, wako well supported. Kuna ile prison, na sisi tuko wale well wishers, ile timu inajisimamia kivyake. Tunaenda kuomba tu msaada kidogo kwa county government tusaidie, lakini tukipata ule msaani mwenye atakuja aingie kwa timu atusaidie, tunaweza kufurahi sana.
Vihiga County men's volleyball team has played a total of 8 matches, won 1 and lost 8, and occupies 15th position. Central Prison sits at the bottom with no point from 9 matches. Last season's runners-up, KPA, lead the top 4 race, sitting at the top with 34 points, while defending champions GSU is ranked second on 28 points, same as third-placed Prisons Kenya. KDF wraps up the top 4 slot with 27 points. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition Sports.
Boxing now. Rayton Okwiri, who's the former African Boxing Union super middleweight champion, will face Emani Kalombo of the Democratic Republic of Congo in an International Boxing Federation IBF super middleweight title fight that's been scheduled for the 30th in Johannesburg in South Africa. Former professional boxer and coach David Kilu Okwiri has been training at Palpal Gymnasium, Pumwani, Nairobi, under the guidance of Olympian Benson Gisharu. Kalombo has won 15 fights, all on knockouts, and lost only once, which Okwiri is unbeaten in 8 fights with 6 knockouts and 1 draw. On the global front, English Premier League side Manchester United, or Man U if you like, have held positive talks with Barcelona over the signing of midfielder Frenkie de Jong. And there is a growing belief of a deal is moving closer. Meanwhile, West Ham are waiting to hear back from Jesse Lingard after making the former Manchester United man an offer to return to